Infidelity. Most people think women leave because they just fell out of love, but that's not the real reason. The truth is far more surprising, and if you don't understand it, it might already be happening to you. You know relationships don't usually fall apart overnight. They unravel slowly, one unmet need, one unspoken word at a time. And yet when a woman leaves, it often feels sudden to the man. He's left wondering, what just happened? Everything seemed fine. But here's the thing, there were signs. Small ones, subtle ones, and sometimes silent ones. The problem is most guys don't see them until it's too late. Today, we're not just going to talk about the obvious stuff like cheating or constant arguments. We're going deeper. We're going to uncover the hidden reasons, those quiet deal breakers that build up over time, the stuff no one tells you about, but every man needs to hear. And if you stick with me through this video, not only will you understand why women walk away, you'll learn how to spot the early warning signs, how to show up differently, and how to build a connection that actually lasts. So let's get real, let's get honest, and let's start peeling back the layers. Reason 1, emotional neglect. Let's start with one of the biggest silent relationship killers, emotional neglect. And no, I'm not talking about forgetting her birthday or not saying I love you enough, though those things can hurt too. I'm talking about the slow fading of presence. You're physically there, sure, you eat dinner together, maybe sit on the same couch, but emotionally you're checked out. You stop asking how her day was. You reply with grunts or quick answers while scrolling your phone. You assume everything's fine because there's no fight. But here's what most guys don't realize. When a woman stops bringing things up, it's not because she doesn't care. It's because she doesn't feel heard anymore. And that's dangerous. Emotional neglect feels like being invisible in your own relationship. It's the kind of loneliness that hits even when she's sitting right next to you. A lot of men think love means providing, protecting, showing up. But for her, love also means feeling seen, valued, and emotionally connected. It's about saying, I'm here, I care, I'm listening. If that emotional door stays shut for too long, don't be surprised if she eventually walks out of it. And by the time you notice, she's already miles away, mentally and emotionally. So ask yourself, when's the last time you really listened to her? Not to fix her problem, not to rush her, but just to be there. That's where reconnection starts. Reason 2, loss of polarity, masculine/feminine energy. Now, let's talk about something that flies under the radar for most people. Polarity. It's a fancy word, but the idea is simple. Relationships thrive on a dynamic between two opposing energies, masculine and feminine. It's like magnets. One is the north, the other the south. That contrast creates attraction. But over time, especially in long-term relationships, that magnetic pull can fade. Not because love disappears, but because polarity does. Maybe you started out confident, driven, decisive, but slowly you stop taking the lead. You second-guess everything. You avoid decisions. You lose your edge. And she begins to feel like she's the one holding everything together. Now don't get this twisted. It's not about being dominant or macho. It's about being grounded, having direction, being the steady force she can relax into. When a man loses a sense of purpose or confidence, the energy flips. She becomes more masculine to compensate, and the balance shifts. Suddenly there's tension, but not the good kind. There's no more spark, just logistics and emotional labor. It's like dancing, right? If both people try to lead, you'll step on each other's toes. If neither leads, you just stand there awkwardly. But when each person embraces their role and rhythm, it flows. So ask yourself, are you showing up with clarity and confidence? Or have you faded into indecision and passivity? Because when that polarity disappears, so does the passion. Reason 3, lack of purpose or ambition. Let's get real. One of the sneakiest reasons women leave is when a man loses his sense of purpose. Now, before you roll your eyes, hear me out. This isn't about making six figures or being some corporate rock star. It's about having a direction, a drive, something that lights you up and keeps you moving forward. When a man stops chasing anything, when he just drifts through the days without excitement or fire, it slowly starts to erode the respect in a relationship. You see, women are naturally drawn to men with vision, not just dreams, but action behind those dreams. If you once had ambition, but now you're stuck in autopilot, she feels it. She sees you settling, giving up on yourself, and eventually she starts to feel like she's giving up on a relationship too. It's not about external success. It's about internal momentum. A man on a mission is attractive, not because of the destination, but because of the passion in the pursuit. Think about it. When was the last time you talked about something that genuinely excited you? When did you last take a step toward becoming the man you said you wanted to be? Because if you've stopped growing, the relationship will eventually stop growing too. And the truth is, most women don't want to leave. They just can't stay in a space where nothing's moving forward. Reason 4, communication disconnect. Another major reason women quietly walk away is something so simple yet so misunderstood. Communication, or rather, the lack of it. Most breakups don't come from screaming matches or dramatic fights. They come from a quiet, creeping disconnect where two people stop speaking each other's emotional language. You might think you're talking, but are you really communicating? See, men often communicate to solve problems. Women, on the other hand, often communicate to feel connected. So when she shares something emotional and you immediately jump to fixing it, it can feel like you're missing the point. Or when you say, "I'm just tired for the 5th day in a row," and shut down, she starts to wonder if she even matters to you anymore. And here's a big one. When she says, "I'm fine," that doesn't always mean she is. But if you stop asking, she stops answering. Over time, the emotional thread that ties you together starts to fray. And the worst part? Neither of you may even notice until it snaps. Communication is not just about words. It's about presence, tone, timing, and intention. It's the little things. Checking in during a tough day, pausing to say, "I hear you," or simply sitting with her in silence when she needs comfort, not commentary. So ask yourself, are you talking just to respond, or are you listening to understand? Because when communication fades, so does connection. And without connection, even love struggles to survive. Reason 5, feeling unappreciated or unseen. One of the most painful reasons women leave, and one of the most overlooked, is that they start to feel unappreciated and unseen. And I don't mean grand gestures or expensive gifts. I'm talking about the small moments that quietly build or break a connection. Maybe she packs your lunch. Maybe she handles the bills, remembers your mom's birthday, folds your laundry just the way you like it. And at first, you notice those things. You say, "Thank you," you smile, you touch her back when she walks by. But over time, those gestures fade into routine. You stop noticing. You stop thanking. And without meaning to, you make her feel invisible. Now here's what you might not realize. Women often carry a huge amount of emotional labor. They don't just manage the house or the calendar. They manage your mood, the family's well-being, and the unseen weight of keeping things together. And when none of that gets acknowledged day after day, it starts to feel like her effort doesn't matter, like she doesn't matter. And that's when she starts to emotionally check out. You see, appreciation is oxygen in a relationship. Without it, everything suffocates, slowly. So here's something simple you can do today. Notice one thing she does that you usually overlook, and genuinely thank her for it. Look her in the eye. Let her know you see her. Because the truth is, being taken for granted isn't loud, it's quiet. But the damage it causes, that's what echoes long after she's gone. Reason 6, cheating or broken trust. Now, let's talk about one of the most obvious yet most complex reasons women leave. Cheating, or more broadly, broken trust. And this doesn't always mean a full-blown affair. Sometimes it's the secret text messages, the hidden Instagram DMs, the emotional connection with someone else that you pretend is harmless. Other times it's simply the feeling that you're not being honest with her, not just about your actions, but about your thoughts, your intentions, your attention. You see, trust isn't just about staying faithful. It's about making her feel safe. Safe to open up, to be vulnerable, to believe that you've got her back. And once that sense of safety is gone, even if she stays for a while, the relationship starts to rot from the inside. Maybe you said something would change, and it didn't. Maybe she caught you lying about something small, and now she's wondering what else you're not telling her. Broken trust doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's a slow erosion, like water leaking through a crack, until one day the foundation just collapses. Rebuilding trust takes time, transparency, and consistency. If she's starting to doubt your words, your loyalty, or your intentions, it's a sign the relationship is on thin ice. And once a woman feels she can't trust you, emotionally or physically, she'll start to detach. Not out of anger, but out of self-protection. So, if you're hiding things, even small ones, ask yourself, is this worth risking the whole relationship? Because once trust is gone, love struggles to survive. The silent exit. How women leave without saying a word. Here's the part that surprises most men. When women leave, they often leave long before they actually walk out the door. It's called a silent exit. And it doesn't happen in one big dramatic moment. It happens in 1,000 small ones. She starts to go to bed earlier. She stops asking you to talk. She laughs less at your jokes. She no longer cares about winning the argument because she stopped believing it's worth having. This is when she's already left emotionally. And that's the most dangerous point in a relationship because by the time she physically packs her things or says I'm done, she's already grieved the relationship. She's already had the hard conversations with herself. The tears? She cried those months ago in the bathroom, quietly, while you were watching TV or scrolling your phone. You didn't see her leave because she didn't slam the door. She just started closing herself off, little by little, to protect her heart. And the hardest part? A lot of men only start to pay attention once she's already checked out. They notice the distance, but by then it's not space. It's a goodbye in slow motion. So here's the question you got to ask yourself. Has she stopped arguing, stopped engaging, stopped caring? Because if she has, you might be mistaking her silence for peace, when it's actually the quiet before the storm. What you can do, prevention and reconnection. All right, so now that we've broken down the real reasons women leave, what can you actually do about it? The good news is not all hope is lost. Most relationships don't fall apart because of one big failure. They fall apart because of small things, done repeatedly or not done at all. And that means you can also rebuild with small, consistent actions. First, start with awareness. Go back through everything we've talked about, emotional neglect, trust, communication, and ask yourself, where have I slipped? Where have I stopped showing up? No shame, no guilt, just honesty. From there, take action. Reconnect emotionally by being present. That means putting the phone down when she's talking, asking her how she really feels, and listening, not to fix it, but to hear it. Appreciate her out loud. Tell her what you notice and what you love about her, not just on special occasions, but on random Tuesdays. Regain your sense of direction. Even if you're unsure of your big life goal, just having momentum, a hobby, a plan, a sense of personal growth, can reignite the respect and admiration she may be quietly missing. And most of all, rebuild trust through transparency and consistency. If you say you'll change something, show her through your actions, not just your words. Change doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be real. Because at the end of the day, most women don't want to leave. They leave because they feel like they don't have another option. So if she's still there, still trying, still hoping, it's not too late. But it's time to act, because love doesn't stay alive on autopilot. Conclusion. So here's the bottom line. Women rarely leave out of nowhere. They leave after months, sometimes years, of feeling unheard, unseen, and emotionally disconnected. It's not always about cheating, yelling, or explosive fights. Sometimes it's about silence, about being in a relationship where they feel alone, even when they're not. We've talked about emotional neglect, loss of polarity, broken trust, feeling unappreciated, poor communication. And most importantly, the slow fade most men don't see coming. But now you see it, and that gives you power. Power to show up differently. Power to rebuild, reconnect, and prevent the kind of heartbreak that comes without warning. So if something in this video hit home, don't ignore it. Do something with it. Start a real conversation. Reflect, grow, because awareness without action, that's just regret waiting to happen. And hey, I want to hear from you. What's one lesson you've learned the hard way in a relationship? Drop it in the comments. Your story could help someone else going through the same thing. And if this video gave you something to think about, go ahead and like it, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Relationships aren't always easy, but they're worth fighting for. The key is knowing how to fight for them the right way.